Be seated. Members of the jury, if you would now please give your full attention to Mr. Kadine as he makes closing argument on behalf of defendant Mr. Ali.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Where are we? We're at the end, nearing the end. What I would like to tell you is that this is my opportunity to address you. When I'm done, Mr. Leary will address you, and then finally the prosecutor will get what's called a rebuttal. All right, so they'll get an opportunity to take all of the brilliance that I'm going to put in front of
I'm
you
sorry,
and tear it apart.
Mr. Kadine, you're
Yes.
going to need to speak up.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Do I need to be nearer a microphone?
Probably, I would think so.
All right. Sorry. Okay. So, this is my opportunity to tell you that I see this case, obviously, different from what the prosecutor saw. And what I'm going to tell you is this case boils down to 53 seconds for Mr. Ali. 53 seconds from when we start the bus video until Mr. Ali is laying prostrate on the ground unconscious. Okay? That's the amount of time we're talking about. What I want to know is, how did we get to those 53 seconds? And what do we know presented here as evidence? I'm going to tell you right away, the first thing is, there's two distinct groups in this case. Pretty obvious, right? We have the Ali family, and then we have Fatima's contacts outside the family. All right? Those are the two groups. They don't meet very often. All right? We know, for example, Isaiah was dating Fatima for approximately 10 months, per his testimony. We know from Mr. Barnes and we know from Noah that they were in love. That's what we heard. What we didn't hear, though, was that Mr. Ali knew about that prior to at least September 16th. He did not know that Isaiah was his daughter's boyfriend. He did not know she was in a relationship. He had no way of knowing because she hid that from him. We heard from Isaiah, for example, they had clandestine meetings in the park. They didn't interact with each other's families at all. We know that Isaiah's contact with the family consisted of talking to daughter Kadine on one or two occasions, and that was it. We do know that Isaiah and his family was aware that Fatima was not to be dating. But they disregarded that, chose to anyway. In order to do that, they had to keep everything secret. So they're living in a secret world. What else do we know about that? We know that all of the information that came to Isaiah was through Fatima. He didn't have contact with anyone else to find anything out. He didn't have a way to corroborate what she was telling him. She was just taking her at her word as to what was happening, right? The problem is, as we found, Fatima is what we would like to call an unreliable narrator, right? She tells stories. She doesn't always tell the truth, but she's controlling the narrative on the non-Ali family side, which includes not only Isaiah, but his friends and the school. We know that Fatima has contact with them. We know that the family contact with the school is pretty limited. As a matter of fact, after September 16th, family contact with the school was zero until October 18th. Now, we could go into a lot of reasons as to why there was no contact, but it seems pretty clear that when Assistant Principal Walter Meyer decided that Zara Ali was no longer allowed at the school, Zara Ali took steps to put her daughter in a different school. To North Thurston High School was her choice. Eventually, she got set up in online school. Okay? So, where do we get to on October 18th? We have a situation where Mr. Ali is pretty much in the dark. We know from Mr. Barnes that Mr. Ali talked to him on the telephone, apparently, on the 16th of September. Mr. Barnes said he called him, talked to him. We know that Mr. Barnes said that Mr. Ali came to his house the weekend before this incident. And that is what prompted him, at that point, to go get the restraining order on the 14th, which was Monday. Okay? So that is the contact that they've had as families. There's been no talk about the kids. There's been no talk about this relationship. There's been none of that. Okay? And Mr. Ali knows nothing about Isaiah. He's never met him. Never seen him. Okay? So the scene that we have on the 18th is a situation where Fatima decided that she's going to run away from home. Okay? Why does she want to run away? Because she doesn't want to travel with her mother, her sister, and her two little brothers to Iraq. Now, she's been to Iraq before. She said it was okay, but she said there were times that she didn't feel safe. She goes to school after running away on the 18th and talks to her counselor. Let's back up. We know that she was planning to run away because we know on the 17th she said she set her alarm for 4 a.m. so that she could get up and run away the next morning. She gets up, she gathers a few items, she runs out of the house before anyone else is awake. We know that she's hiding out. She goes to between Walmart and Safeway, she goes to the bus stop, she's going around, hiding out so that her parents won't find her. She says at some point she saw her parents driving around looking for her in the morning. We know the parents called the police that day, talked to Peng. Early morning, he said about 8. He talks to them. They say she's missing. We don't know where she is. Now, at that point, he doesn't fill out a runaway report. But what does he do? He goes and checks a couple of things. He goes and checks around Safeway. He goes and checks at Isaiah's house. And apparently, according to him, has Isaiah's mom call the school, I guess to see if Isaiah is there. I don't know. I don't know that they would tell her if Fatima was there. But we know the officer Hang did not follow up with the school himself. Okay? So, we have Fatima going to school. I think it's telling what she does first. She goes to a first period class so she can talk to Isaiah. Isaiah, she says to him that she's running away, tells him the story. He's like, okay. She goes and talks to a counselor. She talks to her former mental health counselor, Liz Robinson, and she's talking about, oh, we need to help you because going to Iraq, you don't feel safe. Now, it's an interesting scenario with Mrs. Robinson because she's able to call law enforcement or CPS if she thinks someone's in immediate danger. But she doesn't do that in this case. And she chooses not to call the Alis at all. She said, well, I have confidentiality. Fatima didn't want me to call. Okay. So the scenario now is Fatima's run away. Her parents have no idea where she is. They've called the police. Fatima's at the school. Nobody from the school calls the Alis to say, your daughter's safe. I mean, I don't suppose they're required to say, we're calling from the school, your daughter's safe. They could just call and say, your daughter's safe. Don't worry about her. They could do it anonymously. Hey, we have your daughter. We're talking to her. But they don't. They choose not to do that. They leave the Ali family in the dark all day. So, what do the Alis do during the day? They talk to the police. They're looking around for her. Apparently, according to Walter Meyer, the other daughter, Nora, who we didn't hear much about, was seen at Timberline that day. Now, we don't know why she was there. She wasn't a student at the time, but we can assume maybe she was looking for her sister. Just putting it out there because she was on the videotape in the school. All right? Now, what's happening during the day? Liz Robinson is coordinating to help Fatima get out of her own house. She's arranging shelter. Now, remember, there's no imminent danger. She's just arranging shelter because Fatima has told her, I don't want to go to Iraq, I don't feel safe. She said it was okay, but I don't feel safe all the time. Now that's an issue right there that's a parental decision on where your kids go. If you're going to Iraq and you want to take your child with you, that's your choice. It's not somebody else's choice. It's your choice as a parent. So what Liz has done, excuse me, Mrs. Robinson, what she's done is now she's inserted herself into a family decision, right? She's telling Fatima, you don't have to go home. You can go to a shelter. And they get it done. Again, nobody's talking to the Ali family. Nobody's telling them what the plan is. They have no idea. So, what else happens that day? Well, we know that Isaiah talks to her again, fourth period. We know that after school, Isaiah meets her at the front of the school. She waits for him, and he comes out, and they go to the bus together. Now, at this point, they walk past Mr. Ali's truck. Let's see if I can get that up there. This is exhibit. Oops. 106, page 3. We can see they are right here in the sidewalk. Mr. Ali's truck. Oh, nice. Mr. Ali's truck is right here. So clearly, they see Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali can see them. Now, interestingly, the time on this photo, if you look down in the corner, it's not the time of day. It's just the time of the extent of the video, 9 minutes, 29 seconds. Okay? If we look then at page 5 of the same exhibit, we're going to note now that Mr. Ali has moved his truck from this spot and he's driving over towards the bus stop. Okay? Now, why is this important? It's important because there was a 2-minute delay there. Okay? Mr. Ali did not immediately jump out of his truck and go grab his daughter. We don't know what he did at that point. We do know that a couple of minutes later, his wife and daughter show up at the parking lot. Okay? So, Mr. Ali is not going, obviously, to the parking lot to grab his daughter because he sees her walk by and he doesn't grab her. She goes off to the bus stop where she's talking to other students. And we know Isaiah is talking to other students. He talked to Noah. He's talked to, I forgot his name, but he talks to Noah. We remember Noah. They're in love, man, right? That's Noah. He talks to him and says, be prepared. Be ready. Isaiah himself says, I was ready for anything. Okay? So this is occurring while Mr. Ali is in his truck. He has no idea what's going on. He's never even seen Isaiah before this point. Right? In his life. He's never seen him. Mr. Ali drives over to the bus stop to go talk to his daughter. Okay? He talks to his daughter, as we heard from several witnesses, in a calm voice. Get home. She says, no, I don't want to come home. He goes, come home with me. This goes on, back and forth. She refuses to go. Okay? She's his 17-year-old daughter. She's a reported runaway. He wants her to go home. She doesn't want to go. That's where we are. He reaches out and touches her, grabs her shoulder. That's what we heard. Grabbing her shoulder in this situation is not an assault because, as we saw in one of the instructions, you have the right to control your child, right? Parental discipline. You're coming with me, okay? At that point, Isaiah interjects himself into what's happening, okay? What does he do? He says, well, I tried to push him away. Let's take a look and see what we can find here on the video. This is Exhibit 34, the bus video. If we can turn that on. And this is framed from 213 seconds, frame number 6, and they're all individually framed. Now, I just noticed, ironically, if you look right here on the left side where the arrow is on the right side photo, there is Kadine and her mother's car that's just now getting to the school. All right. But let's take a closer look at the view of what's happening at the bus stop as the bus comes into view here.
Mr. Kading, can you indicate which camera view
Oh, yeah,
this
I'm
is?
sorry. This is the road view of Exhibit 34 at 2 minutes, 13 seconds, and 14. All right, hang on just a minute here. Let's back up just a little bit. And I've stopped it at 2:13:17. All right, get caught up here on my timeline. Okay, 2:13:17:5 is where we're going to go. And that is going to be 5 frames from here. Now, if we look in this frame right here, we can see Mr. Ali. He's right there. Okay? He's standing there. Some of the other people are standing there watching him. There's been no physical contact yet, but you can see something going up in his eye, in his face there. And what you're going to see is that it's Isaiah's hand pushing him away. All right? So let's watch this slowly in quarter speed from 2:13:17 to 2:13:18. You can now see the hand right there in front of his face. Okay? Now, you can see he's walking backwards and he's still got Isaiah trying to hang on to Fatima. And if we stop it right there, this is just after the punch to Isaiah. Now, if we add on to this view the front door photo, right next to it, you can see, here they are on the right side of the photo. There's a punch here. Now, what you're going to see is Isaiah take about 2 steps, and he's going to turn around and he's going to point at Mr. Ali, and he's going to yell to some friends. Okay? You can see that here in the video. Let's play that. Quarter speed, we'll play it. If we watch that video on the right, you can see Isaiah doesn't hit the ground. He doesn't go down. He just stands up and he points right there. And then at that point, he starts running towards Mr. Ali. Okay? Now we're back on the left side. You can see him
Can you
taking...
indicate the time that you paused?
Oh, this is 2:13:25. All right? So let's close this one out. And then we're at 2:13:25, and you can see up here on the right underneath this tree is Caleb, who's going to be coming in here in a second. Now, on the left, we got Mr. Ali, and we've got Fatima, who are kind of been, we can back it up just a little bit. Let me back it up just a hair to 2:13:22, and we play that, and we see Mr. Ali go to get his daughter. Now remember, his truck is right here now, at this point, and he's trying to get her in the truck. At this point, she's still squirming around, and she's standing up, and she's going to the left. Now, right here, he gets attacked, right? We see Isaiah come running in from across the way. And what did Isaiah tell us? He says, well, I was mad at him for hitting me, okay? He's not at a point going in to protect Fatima from anything. He's mad, and he attacks Mr. Ali. Now, we have another photo. This is Exhibit 501, if I could just put this on for a moment. Remember 501. This is the photo of the frame where Isaiah has his arm up in the air and he's taking a swing at Mr. Ali, and Fatima's there. Now, what's interesting about this is that he can't really see Fatima from this point. I mean, he's coming in at the same angle as the camera. He says that he's trying to protect her, but really what he's doing is he's taking a swing at Mr. Ali because he's mad at him. Okay, that's what he said. And what he does after this is he pushes him into that tree. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll go back to the video. Now I'm going to back up the video here just a hair so we can see a little bit better what's going on. And we're at 2:13:27. Let's back it up just a little bit to 2:13:25. Okay. And so here's Mr. Ali. He's wrestling with Fatima, but he doesn't have arms around her neck. Okay, that's what we kept hearing people say. He's got his arms around her in a reverse chokehold. No, he doesn't. We can see he's got his elbow up on this side and his hand over on this side. She's squirming around over here. And clearly she's trying to get away from him. Okay? So here comes Isaiah. Boom. Hits him. Caleb comes in.
Can you indicate what time you stopped?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is 2:13:26. Caleb comes in from the right side. Now, he's not pulling anyone away. You can see he's pretty clearly pushing Mr. Ali, or excuse me, he's pushing Isaiah in the back. Mr. Ali here next to the tree, and these are the legs of Fatima over here. Okay? So, there was no falling to the ground. This was clearly being tackled to the ground by at least these two people. And I think we're going to see Zayla. All right? You can see him hit the tree, and boom. At this point, everybody's on the ground. And right there, excuse me, I'm going to pause it again, 2:13:29. So we haven't gone very far in the video here. The first thing we see is Isaiah kicking Mr. Ali in the head, right? He's on the ground kicking Mr. Ali in the head. Start it up again. Now, right there, between 2:13:29 and 2:13:30, frame 8, you can see Mr. Ali on the ground, underneath Caleb's feet here. And if you watch him, after he gets kicked in the head, right there, he kind of curls up at that point, all right? And then additional hitting and kicking is happening very quickly. We're 3 seconds in here. He's getting hit in the head, he's getting kicked in the head, and he's hanging on to Fatima. Now, remember this scenario. We're at the bus stop. Somebody we don't know comes up to us, gets between us and our daughter. This is Isaiah at the time. And he starts putting his hands up in my throat, my neck area, because I'm trying to take my daughter home. Okay? Mr. Ali takes one punch at him to get him away. Doesn't even knock him to the ground. He just kind of gets him off. Then he's heading over to still get his daughter into the car. He's the father. He's the concerned father who hasn't heard anything about where she's been all day, other than here she sits at the bus stop, right? He does not know these people. These people come at him and attack him at that point. He's got his daughter with him. He's trying to control his daughter. She's trying to get away. And so what does he do? He hangs on. Okay? He's hanging on to his daughter. She's in front of him on the ground, and he's got her. He's curled around her, and he's hanging on. Now, the government would have you think that at that point, he's strangling her, and he's intending to kill her. When in fact, what we see is a man laying on the ground who just got kicked in the head, holding on to his daughter. Now, why is that important? Well, because if you remember when we were talking to Dr. Gilbert, I asked her a couple of things about blows to the head, right? I said, well, what about hitting the tree with your head? And she said, well, Fatima didn't have anything on her head. And I said, well, what about if you kick somebody in the head? Oh, yeah, that can cause problems. That can cause cerebral edema or concussion. What happens when you get those? Well, your body functions, but you can't control it, right? That's where we're at. We're at a place where a guy is on the ground, he's being attacked, he's being punched, he's being kicked in the head while he has his daughter. Apparently, while that's happening in these few seconds, he's forming some sort of an intent to strangle her. There's no evidence that was ever put forth that he was intending to strangle her. What we have here is we have a melee, a mob, right? We have chaos going on. And at this point, what happens is they start yelling and screaming at him to let her go. That's what they're screaming, right? I'm going to start the video here at 2:13:34. Let's play it at full speed for the next few seconds. Turn on some audio as well. All right? So let's watch what happens. Oop, I don't know where the audio is. I'm stopping it now, 2:13:38, frame 9. You can see Isaiah is right there pounding on Mr. Ali's head. Up and down, many times. Now, we haven't got to the point yet where Caleb drags Mr. Ali. He doesn't grab his arm and try and pull his arm free. What he does is he just grabs him by the bottom of the coat and yanks it up. You can see Mr. Ali's back come up. He drags him away from the tree. That's where he's going with that. Doesn't drag him very far, but he drags him away from the tree. Let's watch that. I'm going to start at 2:13:38. Right there. Now, he's not grabbing his arms. He's grabbing at his coat, he's grabbing on his back, and he's yanking him across the ground. Meanwhile, Fatima, who allegedly they're trying to protect, is underneath Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali is on his stomach right there. He is on his stomach being dragged by somebody he doesn't know, punched by somebody he doesn't know, across the ground with his daughter with him, and he's hanging on. He doesn't want anyone to snatch his daughter. He wants to hang on to his daughter, right? So, watch it again. Keep going from there. Kicking, punching, hitting. Now, at that point, you could see Fatima, and there comes the bus driver, Mr. Denicola. All right? I'm going to stop it now, 2:13:54. We're 40 seconds into this video. That's where we are. Mr. Denicola is there. Now, what he said was that he went there and he stopped the assault. Contrary to what Mr. Wagner said. Mr. Wagner said he stopped the assault. And then finally, of course, Isaiah says, no, it was me. I stopped the assault because I knocked him out. That's what he said. Okay? So one of the three of them knocked him out. Now, I don't know Josh Wagner, but I do know this. He ordered the tape on this case, he said, from a public records request 6 months ago. We can assume he watched it. He said he got there before the bus driver. He's not there yet because he didn't get there before the bus driver. Mr. Denicola was there, bending down. Going to start again from 2:13:54. You can see in the background there, Isaiah is still hitting. Now, here we are at 2:14. Okay, this is 2:14:00. This is when Mr. Wagner appears from the left wearing the hunter's cap, and right here you can see Mrs. Ali. Okay, bent over Fatima and her father right here is the bus driver who said he was loosening any remaining grip from around Fatima's throat. All right. Now, there was a point, and we've seen it, where Fatima goes limp. Okay. What I want to tell you is, you can see at this point, I will give you the exact frame, 2:14:02.8, she starts moving her feet. Okay? So we can assume at that point that whatever has been compressing her throat has been removed. Now, let's assume for a minute that it is her dad's arm that's compressing her throat. Seems reasonable, right? We can all agree on that. Whether or not there's a crime, though, requires more than that, okay? There has to be an intent to assault, okay? An intent is not just, oh, well, there's obviously intent because it happened. No. Intent requires purpose, right? You have to be acting to make something happen. I'm going to give you an example, all right? This is one of my favorite intent examples. You're in a basketball game. 2 seconds left in the game, you're on offense, right? You're down at the other team's offensive end, and the guy's dribbling, you steal the ball from him. You win the game, right? Enjoy a celebration with a second left, you throw the ball up in the air, right? It goes through the basket, you lose the game. Because you threw it up before the clock went, right? You didn't intend it to happen. It certainly happened. There certainly were consequences of it happening because the ball went through the hoop. That doesn't mean you intended for the ball to go through the hoop just because you threw it in the air. right? You didn't have the purpose. Cost you the game. You lost. No intent. Bad consequence. That happens. Accidents happen. Situations happen where you're attacked by a mob and you don't know exactly what's going on. You've got people yelling, people kicking, people hitting you. You're laying there. You don't know what's happening. You're hanging on. You've been kicked in the head. You could have edema, cerebral edema. You could have a concussion. You could have any of these things. Then you say, well, where's the evidence of that? The evidence of that is that when asked, Mr. Ali, 40 minutes after this incident, do you want to see a doctor? He says no. That's the medical that we have on Mr. Ali. There's no way to know what happened at that time because no medical exam was done. They listened to a guy who just clearly been beat about the head and neck area, right? Beat severely. They ask him for his opinion on whether he needs to go to the doctor. Doesn't make any sense. He's been knocked out. According to Isaiah, he punched him enough times, he broke his hand on his head, and he knocked him out. That's where we are, okay? Now that, let me play the video for just a couple more seconds here. We're at 2:14:02. Let's play it. Until there. You can see at that point, it's kind of hard. I'm sorry, Your Honor. 2:14:08, frame 6. Again, you guys will have all of this in the room. You can take a look at it. If you look right here, you can see that Fatima is laying there next to her father. And at this point, this is the hat right here of Mr. Wagner, and he then sits on Mr. Ali for the remainder. Mr. Ali no longer moves from that point for the next several minutes, okay? And it's not until Officer Hang comes and arrests him. So that's the end of that video, 2:14:08. That's the 53 seconds that we're talking about. That's the amount of time for all of this to happen where Mr. Ali allegedly formed the intent to kill his daughter. That's what they're thinking that he was doing. A man who called the police when his daughter was missing. Not just once, but at least twice. A man who spent the day looking for his daughter. He finds her. He wants to take her home. He has no idea what's going on, except that she ran away that morning. No one has had the courtesy to call him and tell him what's happening. So what does he do? He goes, he tries to take her home. He gets attacked by a mob. He's beat about the head and neck area. And allegedly, he has, at that point, informed intent to either A, kill his daughter, which obviously didn't want to do, or B, seriously maim her. Assault 1, no. The question is, did he strangle her with an intent? Did he intend it? Was it intended at all when he's there? Or is it just circumstantial, right? Just because I'm on the ground, I've been tackled, I've been dragged, I've been kicked, I've been punched, I'm hanging on to my daughter. I don't know who these people are trying to take her, but I sure don't want to let her go. Something a father would do. Something a father would want to do, hang on to his child. Now, is it unfortunate that her neck was compressed? Yes, it was. But that is not a crime if you don't intend it. Okay? Now, it probably would have been better in this case if all the witnesses hadn't watched this video before coming to testify, because it's possible some of their testimony could have been contaminated by what they saw, which is different than what they remembered. But it all was the same pretty much, except they still made mistakes, right? They still made mistakes because they didn't want to know what they had done. Now, I want to just talk a little bit more about the witnesses that we heard from. We heard from Dr. Gilbert. She's the one who testified. She said the body's an amazing thing. What she also said, if you're not unconscious, it says the body's functioning, but the ability to control it is not there. Okay? If you're hit in the head and you're concussed, you lose your abilities to use your brain. If you don't have the ability to use your brain, you can't form the intent necessary to commit the crimes that the government is alleging. Right? They said he did not go to school with a plan to kill his daughter. He did not develop a plan to kill his daughter between when he got out of his truck and when he was tackled to the ground. What he did was develop the intent to hang on, to protect his daughter. They showed nothing else. They showed no evidence of anything. They didn't have him saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They had no evidence of anyone hearing him making any threats. They had no evidence of any of that because there wasn't any. No intent. What was in his mind? Did they prove it to you beyond a reasonable doubt? Get into jury instructions beyond a reasonable doubt. Something, a doubt for which there is a reason. Okay? As to any single element of a crime. And in this case, intent. Is there a doubt as to his intent? Yes, there is. How do we know? Because they didn't provide us any evidence. They provided us physical activities that were going on. A mob beating a man getting punched and kicked in the head, a man getting dragged across the ground, a man hanging onto his daughter. And from that, they're trying to have you think, well, intent to kill. If not intent to kill, intent to maim. If not intent to maim, intent to strangle. None of that was proven. None of that was proven in this case. No intent. And let's talk about parental rights, right? You have the right, when your daughter is gone, run away, to take her home. That is your parental right. Okay? Grabbing her by the shoulder, taking her home is not against the law. Okay? What happened here, though? Isaiah got himself involved in this. He put himself in the situation and made it physical. He grabbed Mr. Ali, he stuck his hand up in his face, he pulled on Fatima, and he was wrestling with Mr. Ali. Again, Mr. Ali doesn't even know him. Doesn't know who this guy is, doesn't know what his intent is with his daughter, right? Mr. Ali does what? He punches him one time to get him away. He doesn't knock him to the ground, he doesn't knock him out. He hits him. Isaiah literally takes one step back before he turns, points, and yells. Starts running back towards Mr. Ali. He doesn't run to protect Fatima. He runs to get Mr. Ali, the man who just hit him. He's angry. Okay? So the question is, was the punch that Mr. Ali threw reasonable? If it's not reasonable, it's not self-defense. But what does he have? He has a guy he doesn't know, grabbing at his throat area, pushing him around, turns around, takes one swing at him, turns around and walks away. Right? He doesn't go beat him up. He doesn't pound him into the ground. He doesn't kick him in the head. He punches him once, goes back to what he's doing, which is trying to get his runaway daughter home. Okay? Trying to get his runaway daughter home, not a crime. All right? Striking someone when they're interfering with you, getting your daughter, by grabbing at you, you can defend yourself as long as it's reasonable. Right? He didn't pull a gun out and shoot Isaiah. That would be unreasonable, right? He got him, he hit him once, he turned around, he went away. That's self-defense. All right? Now, what about some of the other issues that they're bringing in? Again, they become kind of irrelevant. There's no intent to kill, there's no intent to do serious bodily injury. The only injury that they had in this case that lasted was this pneumomediastinum. What did we hear about pneumomediastinum? We heard that usually it just goes away, right? It's air in your cavity. It went away in this case. By 8:30 the next morning, it was not getting worse. She had been monitored, no problems noted. It's over. That is not a serious bodily injury, a great bodily injury. It's none of those things, okay? What you're going to be asked to do is look at these different things, and you're going to have to say, well, did he intend this? Well, I'm saying he didn't intend anything. But if you read it, first of all, for assault 1, did he intend great bodily injury? Okay? That's permanent injury. Did you plan on permanently injuring somebody? Did you plan on permanently disfiguring them? Did you cut a finger off, or cut their ear off, or cut their nose off, or something? No. Did you cause a permanent functional issue with one of their organs? Did you pop an eye out? Did you do any of those things? No, you didn't. That's great bodily injury. You're going to notice in your instructions, which are a freight train, I know, assault 2 is different. Assault 2 is substantial bodily injury. That's already significantly less than great bodily injury. That's substantial bodily injury. The definition for substantial bodily injury: was it something that happened that is somewhat temporary, right? I mean, you could say, I guess, if you intended to strangle someone and cut off their air and blood, you could say, well, that's substantial bodily injury because it temporarily cut off their blood flow, right? It's not great bodily injury because it didn't cause any permanent damage. It didn't have anything that was going to last forever, all right? So part of the issue with the jury instructions is they're quite long. They're quite lengthy for all the different crimes, okay? But the definitions are all there. And so what you have to do is you have to take a look at them and say, okay, of the elements, what did they prove? Did they prove intent on all the assaults and the murder, attempted murder? Did they prove intent? What evidence did we have that we can now find factually that they have proved that beyond a reasonable doubt? They proved it beyond the point where we have no reason to doubt their evidence. Not a single reason. Okay? It doesn't have to be a series of reasons, and it doesn't have to be a series of elements. It has to be one reason for an element not being proved. One reason to give you a doubt. Now, the prosecutor also talked about abiding belief. I like abiding belief as well. Abiding belief doesn't mean it's not proven beyond reasonable doubt. It means that you are so convinced that that will never change. Okay? You are not going to wake up tomorrow and say, oh, you know what, I just thought they didn't prove this, right? Because they failed to do this. An abiding belief means you're going to remember that for the rest of your life. It's never going to change. Okay? You're not going to reconsider in a month. You're not going to reconsider in a year. You're not going to reconsider and say, gosh, you know, maybe they didn't prove that. That's a hard standard. That's beyond a reasonable doubt. If you have a reason, if you have a doubt, that's all you need. They have the burden. They've undertaken the burden. And in this case, they did not meet the burden. All right? They didn't meet the burden for attempted murder because they didn't show any intent to kill. They didn't meet the burden for assault, assault 1 because they didn't show the intent necessary to get to assault 1. Okay? They had a couple of minor injuries. All of those injuries could be associated with an accidental situation, right? I have my arms around you, a guy's dragging me on top of you, I could be strangling you at that point. The other thing is to remember about strangulation is it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take much to strangle somebody. 4 pounds of pressure is what I heard from Dr. Gilbert, if you stop some sort of a vein, and 11 pounds of pressure if it's an artery, okay? Interestingly, she threw in 6 pounds of pressure for a pistol trigger, right? And much more than that for even a soft handshake. Much more than 11 pounds. A firm handshake, more than that, but not very much. Think about a handshake. That's how much pressure is more than 11 pounds. It could happen in a situation where you're hanging on to somebody, your hands get up around their neck, and you get dragged across the ground. At that point, after being kicked in the head, you may not realize what you're doing, right? You may not have the ability to know what your body's doing. People are screaming at you. People are kicking you. Up until the very last minute, Isaiah was punching him in the head. Up until the very last minute when Zara comes in and pushes Isaiah off. She pushes Isaiah. Isaiah says at that point he's knocked him out. Mr. Ali's laying on the ground. He's not moving. Everything's over at that point. Okay? He's that close to getting knocked out when all of this is happening. And we don't know at what point he lost his ability to reason and function. Now, I've already touched on a couple of these things. One of the things that you're to talk about in instruction 1, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. I'm not going to go through all of them. Anyone that has personal interest in the outcome can have bias, okay? Personal interest in this case, essentially everyone involved in this case has a personal interest, right? They all say, well, that's what I saw. Well, did you? Because a lot of what I heard from the testimony was different than what we saw in the video, okay? Proof beyond a reasonable doubt, we just talked about briefly. Instruction 12 is the intent instruction. Prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt the objective or purpose of the defendant's actions was to accomplish a result that constitutes a crime. Again, objective or purpose, okay? You have to set out to do something. I can easily imagine a situation where you intend to strangle somebody. They're standing over there, you're mad at them, you go and you grab them around the throat and you strangle them, right? That would be clear intent. There's no mistakes, no accident, no way that you couldn't mean to do what you're doing. That demonstrates intent. We don't have that in this case. I think that the prosecutor's already touched on some of the other ones, like recklessly. Again, the degrees of injuries are different. The intent element, the mens rea, the mind's thought process is different between assault 1 and assault 2. Okay? So make sure that you read the instructions carefully. And instruction 25, I made a note. And if you read instruction 25, let me just take a quick look and see what I did here. It says, this is about recklessness, right? A person is reckless or acts recklessly when he or she knows of and disregards substantial risk that a wrongful act may occur, and this disregard is a gross deviation from conduct that a reasonable person would exercise in the same situation. Okay? So, was he reckless? Was Mr. Ali reckless? Well, let's talk about the situation. He's on the ground, getting beat and kicked by people he doesn't know. Okay? And at that point, he hangs on to his daughter. Is that reckless? If you were in the same situation, a reasonable person, and that was going on, what would you be expected to do? Would you be expected to do something different? If you were going to act the same, you're not being reckless, right? Reckless, deviating from what they're doing in the same situation. Gross deviation, okay? Now, this all comes down to what a parent would do in a similar situation. Your daughter's run away. You don't know what's happening. You see her at the bus stop. You go to talk to her. She tells you she doesn't want to go. She's your child. You have the parental duty to parent, right? That's your duty as a parent. You say, we're coming home. She says, no, I don't want to go. And here we are. That's what this case is all about. There's no nefarious intents. There's no intents to hurt anybody badly. There's no intents to kill anybody. There's an intent to take your daughter home. 17-year-old daughter who's run away. We know she's run away before, because we know from Mr. Barnes and Corporal Stanford that that's why they were at the house looking for him the weekend before. She'd run away. That's why Officer Hang went to her mother, went to the mother of Isaiah and had her call the school. They're looking for her. They know she's a runaway. So, I put to you that the state has not met its heavy burden in this case. They have not shown you proof of intent. And intent is what matters. Okay? Intent is the key. Look back through the evidence. What was the intent? Where did they show you anything in the evidence that you can say factually, there it is? They can't. They can say, oh, well, all of this bad stuff happened, which indicates intent. No, that's not it. We said, if it happened accidentally, then clearly it's not a crime. It's not intent. You can't say, oh, well, somebody was injured, so they must have intended it. It's like your basketball guy. He made the basket, he must have intended it. No, he didn't intend it. It was wrong, it was a mistake. Bad things happen without crimes being committed. So remember now, Mr. Leary's going to have an opportunity to talk to you. He's going to talk to you a lot more about what happened after. But at this point, Mr. Ali has not been shown to have committed these crimes. I'm going to ask you to find not guilty of everything. If you do decide to go through on the lesser includeds, do it carefully, okay? Just because you say, well, maybe it wasn't in assault 1, it must have been in assault 2. No. Intent is still required. Number 3, was there an assault 4? Take a look at it carefully. Did he intend it? Intent goes to all of them. Okay, totally forgot about unlawful imprisonment. I'm going to go back now, sorry. Unlawful imprisonment. Again, you have the ability to control your daughter, right? She's run away. He grabs her by the shoulder. That's not unlawful imprisonment. He hangs on to her. That's not unlawful imprisonment. Okay? What's he doing? He's trying to get his daughter into his car so he can take her home. That's it. That's not unlawful imprisonment at all. If it is, a lot of people in trouble. All right? I am going to leave it at that point and let you hear from Mr. Leary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arnie.
Members of the jury, we're actually going to take a 10-minute recess at this time, and then when you come back, Mr. Leary will make his closing argument. Again, we are not done with this process. Do not discuss anything during this 10-minute recess, research anything, and the like. Thank you. We'll be in recess for 10 minutes. Thank you.